Clint Barton teaches his daughter archery on his remote farm while he and his wife prepare a picnic lunch for them. After acquiring all 6 Infinity Stones, Thanos snaps, causing Clint's daughter, the rest of his family, and half of the universe's life to vanish as well. Tony Stark and Nebula are left stranded in space after Thanos defeats them on Titan. However, they are brought back together with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Banner, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes when Carol Danvers brings them back to Earth. The group devises a plan to seize Thanos' Infinity Stones and use them to undo his actions. But when they find him, they find that he had destroyed them twice with the stones, stopping him from using them again. He lets the excess justice fighters know that he did this so he wouldn't involve the stones for anything more malicious. Thor beheads Thanos after claiming that he should have killed him in Wakanda. At the point when Scott Lang at last figures out how to get away from the quantum domain 5 years after the fact, he observes that his little girl Cassie is presently a grown-up, that Trust Van Dyne and a portion of the populace have evaporated in the snap, and that Cassie is a teen. Rogers has been leading grief counseling sessions for survivors who are still dealing with the effects of the snap, while Romanoff watches over Earth and the rest of the universe with the help of Rhodes, Danvers, Okoye, Rocket, and Nebula. Lang explains to Romanoff and Rogers that while 5 years had passed for them in the quantum world, only 5 hours had passed for him, and that time moves in a very different direction there. Stark, who is now raising a child with Pepper Potts, is informed of their theory that the quantum realm can be used to travel back in time and steal the Infinity Stones before Thanos can collect them. Stark decides to test theoretical models that would work with Lang's quantum tunnel after thinking about Peter Parker's death. In the end, he finds one that works. Stark initially turns down their offer because he is concerned about endangering his family and the peace he has found. The remaining Vindicators set out to reassemble their group with Obvious now ready. Bruce Standard has now embraced the mass as a piece of himself and blended the mass and his own cognizance into one. Romanoff passes on to find Barton in the wake of hearing from Rhodes about a professional killer whose techniques are like his own. In an effort to make the world a better place, Barton, who is devastated by the loss of his family, has been operating under the alias Ronin, and brutally killing members of gangs Banner and Rocket visit the small town of New Asgard, where Valkyrie and the remaining Asgard survivors have settled. Thor is overcome with guilt over not killing Thanos in Wakanda when they find him there. Thor spends his free time drinking, eating junk food, and playing Fortnite with Korg and Meek. Additionally, his hair and beard are overgrown. Despite Rocket and Banner's efforts, Thor reluctantly agrees to rejoin the Avengers. After proving the quantum time machine's effectiveness on Barton, the Avengers reunite with a strategy. Banner, Rogers, Lang, and Stark set out to find the time, mind, and space stones in 2012 during the Battle of New York. Flag goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where the antiquated one illuminates him that eliminating the time stone from her course of events would hinder Stephen Biz. Stark steals the briefcase containing the Tesseract while no one is looking by pulling a circuit in his artificial heart, which causes Stark's previous self to have a mild cardiac arrest. Their plan fails when Stark accidentally hits the Hulk and drops the briefcase. The Space Stone is then taken by Loki at that point, and he uses it to escape care. Rogers wins concerning taking the Cerebrum Stone from secret Hydra-trained professionals, yet sees as his past self, who bungles him for a secret Loki. After defeating past Steve, Rogers reunites with Unmistakable and Lang, who must now devise an additional strategy for obtaining the Space Stone without exhausting their limited supply of PIM particles, which enable them to traverse the quantum domain. While Rogers and Obvious devise a technique to take the Space Stone from a U.S. armed force establishment during the 1970s and take extra vials of PIM particles to make the excursion back home, Lang takes the Psyche Stone back to the present. Rogers sees Peggy Carter while he is there, and Stark and his father Howard have a good conversation. Before Malekith utilizes the Truth Stone against the 9 domains, Rocket and Thor travel to Asgard to recover it. Thor has a chance encounter with his mother, Frigga, in Asgard while Rocket is stealing the ether, which is a vaporized version of the Reality Stone, from Jane Foster. This brings to mind that his mother would soon pass away. Thor is delighted to discover that he is still deserving of his hammer Mjolnir upon their return to Earth after Frigga gives him advice. Rhodes and Nebula set out for Morag to steal the Power Stone from Peter Quill. Cloud comes up short and stays on Morag as Rhodes takes the Power Stone back to the present. Thanos and Midnight Throat discover the future Cloud's presence and set out to capture her with two consciousnesses working on her structures. Cloud finds what has happened and endeavors to caution the others, yet it is past the point of no return. Through her memories, Thanos discovers the Avengers' plan. He sends the more steadfast Cloud from the past back to the present as a government operative. Barton and Romanoff travel to Vormir to recuperate the Soul Stone, but are conflicted when Red Skull, gatekeeper of the stone, enlightens them that it should be recuperated by relinquishing someone they love. Barton gets back to Earth with the Spirit Stone after a devastated fight over who will make the penance, with Romanoff at last falling. Obvious, Rocket, and Flag set off on a mission to make a glove made of a similar nanotechnology as Unmistakable's latest Iron Man suit to employ the stones whenever everybody had gotten back to Earth's present. Banner agrees to wield the gauntlet and bring back everyone who vanished during Thanos' snap because he can withstand both the gamma radiation and the immense pain and injury caused by using the stones. Notwithstanding his prosperity, they are very quickly gone after by Thanos, who was brought to Earth by the misleading Cloud and obliterated the Quantum Gateway. The Justice Fighters' base camp is reduced to rubble by Thanos, severing the group and putting the glove under Barton's protection. The past Cloud is killed by her future self as she tries to take the unlimited quality stones from Barton, while Rogers, Thor, and Clear go facing Thanos, who finishes up he will rather use the boundlessness stones to demolish the universe and make one in his vision. Rogers supports Thor's.
The Vindicators hold a memorial service for Obvious, whose imprint I-bend reactor is floating on the lake near his home after the fight. Barton and Wanda Maximoff breathe easy in light of the way that Romanoff and Vision, who didn't return in the snap, would be happy for their victory over Thanos. Without precedent for his life, Thor makes Valkyrie the sovereign of Asgard and joins the gatekeepers of the system with an end goal to find his actual calling. Barton returns to his family, and Parker returns to school, where he meets Ned, his closest companion. In contrast, Rogers must travel back in time to restore the stones and Thor's hammer to their original timelines. Notwithstanding, he decides rather to use the remainder of his existence with Carter previously. As an elderly person, he returns before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes and gives Wilson his safeguard and Chief America's uniform,